with the second year now of the top 16 seed reveal, do you get anything out of that? And is that something you think is good or bad for the game, one way or the other, to go down that college football road of kind of hyping it up for weeks?
It doesn't mean much to me. I watched it, but I don't really take much of it. I don't know how much they feel like it attracts fans or drums up interest. I think the NCAA tournament stands on its own. I don't know if that's just in an effort to give more transparency. I didn't pay any attention to it a year ago. Yeah. But, it's just me. My opinion doesn't count much, so.
Probably counts more than you give yourself credit for, but I know you're typically of the mindset where you're focused on the task at hand, and the task at hand right now is obviously Seton Hall. But given that there are 5 games left, you are in control of your destiny in the league. Is there a way to address that with your players, or do you steer clear and just stick to the one game at a time kind of mentality?
That's how you win a league championship, and I think if you ask our players, they would tell you, I talked about it on game 1 when we played at Marquette right after Christmas. How hard would you play for a Big East championship if that night, that's what you were playing for? And my message basically was that's what you are playing for. And so, the finality of it sort of smacks you in the face, but we recognize that every team in this conference has given us a tough way to go. Every night's a war. You just look around the league and watch how results sort of play themselves out, how certain teams aren't giving an inch, aren't quitting. So we know what's ahead of us, both in the short term and in the long term. But, I think our guys are pretty locked in on tomorrow night's opponent because they've given us a rough way to go, ever since we've come into the league. So I don't think anything will be different tomorrow. And
you just alluded to Seton Hall a little bit, but what's your evaluation of them at this point, this late stage in the season?
I think they're one of the more experienced teams in the league. I think they're one of the most physical and a tough, nasty group is what I think of when I think of Seton Hall. A team that's won a Big East championship, tournament championship a couple years ago. They obviously haven't played, well the last couple games, but they were sort of in the same boat a year ago and just sort of strung a bunch in a row together. So I don't pay any attention to how they played in the games prior. I know we're going to get Seton Hall's best shot, and it's my job to make sure our guys give them their best shot as well.
Chris, you've had a lot of close games this season, even in the non-conference, but especially lately where you seems like you're kind of on the brink every night. Is there a benefit to glean from that going into March, because that is kind of the way that tournament games tend to play out?
Well, I hope so, but we could have been just as easily on the short end of the stick, and that could happen in March. So my whole focus isn't trying to take something from that other than getting better and trying to get ourselves in positions where maybe it's a 3 or 4 possession game down the stretch, but that's easier said than done. The other team has scholarship players. They're trying just as equally as we are, and some nights you have tough matchups that maybe aren't as tough for other programs. So I think the close games have given us a poise about us down the stretch, which is certainly needed in tournament play. But I think we've already had that with our seniors, having been through so many games prior to. I'm just glad I can be the luckiest coach in America. Seems like I am.
Chris, Tyreek has been out with an injury. Do you expect him to be back in action tomorrow?
I hope so. Truthful answer is I don't know. We've yet to practice today. Went through a lot of stuff yesterday, but non-contact. So I think it'll be more of a pain tolerance issue. But I'll know more after today's practice.
Looking at Seton Hall, last time you played them, Angel Delgado got 18 rebounds against the top defensive rebounding team in the conference. And you guys, what makes him so dangerous? Is it his size? Is it his will? Is it a little bit of a lot of things?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of everything. Number one, he might be the strongest player in the league, pound for pound. You can't move him. And, Kevin doesn't try to get all fancy with them and have them on the perimeter and, picking and popping and doing all that frilly stuff. They put him under the basket, and when the shot goes up, it's hard to move. He's got Velcro hands. He's great timing. He follows up his own shot as well as any player I've ever coached against. A little bit like Moses Malone. He knows where it's going when he shoots it. He's been a challenge, and he's been that way for 4 years. Nothing's changed other than his age. So it's a big challenge for us tomorrow night for sure.
This might be hard to answer because I'm sure you don't think about it this way, but Xavier's always had, especially in the Big East, good record, been one of the better teams. So you're always, I'm sure, getting everybody's best shot. But this year, has the target become bigger? Have you noticed teams coming at you harder, or do you feel like you're a bigger game for teams this year because of the ranking and because of your placement?
Well, I just think that's natural, but I don't really notice it, or I don't waste time, thinking about how another team's going to come out. The only thing that we can do is prepare for what they're putting on the floor in terms of set plays and style of play, and prepare our guys to the best of our ability. I think our team, is ready night in, night out. I think, we've got down 8-10 points, but we've never shown any panic. We've just chipped away and got back into the game. I think that's just natural that, you're going to get everybody's best shot when you're winning games, but it doesn't make our group nervous. It doesn't do anything it doesn't take away from our preparation by any means. So we don't concern ourselves with it. At least I don't.